It made me feel uncomfortable because I had certain things that I wanted to wear, but then I didn't because I didn't want to look fat. These women always have the flattest tummy. That definitely sets a certain standard.
Recognize that no person is the same, and no matter what you would do, you will never look like that.
And my mom kicked me from dance class at some point because I was smoking weed.
Dancing might not be accepted
As a job.
as a job, pursuing what you really want, as opposed to say like maybe what the society is telling you. But let's sit on the topic of spirituality because
Some Reiki said to me that it's actually your brother who never got born. Like, he's with you all the time. And
Hi friends, welcome back to the Transform with MG podcast, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Martina Good, and today on the show I have my lovely friend Lee. Lee, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So a little backstory. Basically, Lee and I met through a mutual friend, and down the line, then I said to Lee, I was like, instantly, I felt like we clicked. There was just this energy, and I was like, there's something about this girl. Her energy is just so vibrant. I was like, I want to get to know her. And then as I got to know Lee more, her story was just so fascinating. I was like, I need to bring her on the podcast. So I'm really excited for this conversation.
Me too.
All right, let's go. So I really want to know what inspired you to become a dancer.
Actually, my family did, you know. When I grew up, I was the youngest of all my cousins, and they danced. So every time they came back from a class, I wanted to know the choreo or I wanted to dance with them. So that inspired me to dance in the first place. And I don't know, like, I think the older I got, the better I got. I was like, oh, what more can I do? I just always wanted to improve and be part of a crew or like do things like that. Like, that's cool as a dancer.
I love that. So when did that start for you? How old were you?
I was 3 when I started dancing, actually.
Wow, 3. And how
Yeah.
old are you now?
25.
Okay, so is that when your dance career started and it just kicked off? Was it a steady move from 3 years old up to 25?
No, definitely not, actually. I did start when I was 3 years old, and it went very well from there. So, yeah, where I lived, I think it was a small city. So where I lived, I think I was a good dancer, and I was in this team, and we did competitions and whatever. But I quit dancing when I was maybe 15, and I was scared to start again because, you know, when you're at a certain level and you stop doing that thing, you don't want to do it again because now you're probably not as good as you were before. So I didn't want to see that I was less good as I remembered. So I just wanted to remind myself, or like I wanted to remember myself being as good as I thought I was, and I didn't want to see that I wasn't all that anymore. So it took me a very long time to start again. And actually, when I moved to Bali, which is when I was 23, yes, 23, that's when I started dancing again. So I had a very long break, and here it actually kicked off.
So what made you take that break when you were 15?
Uh, Actually, I don't know if I can say that.
You can say anything on this podcast. We're not holding anything back here, girl.
My
I mean, as
mom-
long as you feel comfortable, of course.
Yeah, I don't mind. I mean, I'm from the Netherlands, and my mom kicked me from dance class at some point because I was smoking weed. So that is why
Rebellious
I had to
teenager.
quit. That's why I quit dancing. But then, to be honest, I also wasn't that into it anymore. When I danced first, I was all about dancing, but then I had different friends and they all played hockey, and I also wanted to play hockey, and then I started smoking weed, and I was just a bit, I wouldn't say I was rebellious. Actually, I was quite chill as a teenager, but I had different priorities for sure. I didn't really see a future with dance anymore. I didn't really focus on that anymore.
Okay, interesting. So, like, what sparked your love and interest for it 8 years later?
I came to Bali to do a work for a shelter. It was my internship because I studied social work. And it was sometimes a bit depressing to do that job because you're basically around all these super intense stories about kids, and it just breaks your heart every day. So I was looking for something to do that would cheer me up. And I started working in a gym, and they also had dance classes there. So I was like, oh, maybe I should just do some dance classes to feel good again. And I loved it, and from there it just went so fast. Like I definitely did not see my potential, but luckily other people saw it, and yeah, they asked me to do certain things for my, like dance for money as well, and that's where it started again.
Love that for you. And I'm not sure how the society operates in the Netherlands, but I can just assume that it's pretty similar to Ireland, where dancing might not be accepted
As a
as
job.
as a job, as a career. Have you found challenges in terms of that, like pursuing what you really want, as opposed to say like maybe what the society is telling you what you should do? Because you did social care, right? So you went
Yeah,
down the, I suppose, more conventional path
for
at
sure.
some
Yeah.
point. Have you found challenges in terms of like breaking
Yeah,
down the society
I think
barriers?
so. Yeah, because as a kid, obviously, I always said, "Oh, I want to be a dancer. I want to move to LA and be a dancer. Like that's what I want." And um, no one took that serious because everyone was like, "Okay, but that's a hobby. So what will be your job?" You know, like there's not really. They don't think that creative things can be a job, especially dance. No, I think in the Netherlands, if you would ask anybody, how do you think about having dancing as a job? They would probably say that, oh, that person would probably be broke, you know. And that's not just in the Netherlands. I think that's all around the world, that as a dancer you have to work very hard to earn your money with it, definitely. So yeah, that was hard, and especially when I decided to give up my school and really focus on dancing, because yeah, even my dad was like, are you sure that you're going to give up your school? But I thought, yeah, because I did 3 or 4 studies and I quit everything because it's just not my thing. I don't want to do all that. Like the only thing I can do and never get bored of is dance. So I should follow that if that's what's in my heart, you know?
Yeah, and what kind of support you did have, or if any at all, through like your friends or family?
Um, I don't really look for support from friends or family. I feel like I always look for support from myself. If I feel like I prove something, then I go for it. If I feel like something feels good and I should go for it, I will. Whatever anybody says, whether it's good or bad. So yeah, support is nice, but I really don't mind if you whether you support me or not, if that makes sense. But in the beginning, I feel like there was not that much support because I was also not very open about it. But when people started seeing all the dance videos and okay, now she's working for a different studio and now she's performing as well, then that's when people start reaching out to you and they're like, oh, it's actually so cool what you're doing, and it feels like you really found your way in Bali. So yeah, now
And
I have it.
and did you find that to be a positive thing, that people started then to reach out to you when they seen like the potential in you, or was there a bit of like a bitter taste of like those people weren't supporting me before when I wanted to pursue that career?
No, I actually really don't mind. I always think it's cool when people say that because I feel like many people don't. Do you know what I mean? Many people don't always tell you that they actually think that it's cool what you're doing. But it's probably the same for you. Like when you post something, sometimes it's a bit scary, right? Like sometimes you're like, oof, this is very vulnerable, or yeah, I'm showing a different side of myself that people don't know yet. So yeah, whether people support you before or not, or whatever their opinion used to be, if now your opinion is that, oh, I actually think it's cool what Martina is doing, or I actually think it's cool what Lee's doing, say it. Say it. It's the same when you walk on the street and you see someone with a cool shirt and you're like, hey, I like that shirt. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
always positive. It's always nice for someone, yeah, to hear that someone sees your hard work, basically.
Yeah, that's very true, because it is uncommon to hear actually genuine compliments, and I suppose people going out of their way, maybe even people that don't know you, and congratulating you on how far
Exactly.
you've come.
Yeah.
So you're just appreciative that like people are
Yes,
reaching out.
definitely.
And you strike me, and like I know you by now, but like you are very courageous and you're very in tune with yourself. And obviously, even the move to Bali, the decision to quit school, the decision to like pursue a career that was against what society deemed as like acceptable. have you always found yourself to be this courageous and go for like what you want, or has this been learned over the years?
I have definitely always been like this. Definitely.
One of a kind.
I'm not even gonna deny it. Yes, that's who I am. Yeah, because I can't. I cannot do anything else. It's like I tried, as I said, with my studies. Like I really tried sometimes to do something that I'm supposed to do, but halfway down the line, I will give it up because it's just not aligned with me. I'm very, it's like you said, like I'm in tune with myself, and I feel it when I want something, and I feel it when I don't. And the moment I know that I actually don't want this, whether it's a relationship with a partner, like a romantic partner, a friend, or whether it's a new color on my nails, like I can really tell you halfway, stop, and we're gonna change this, and we're gonna do something else. It's the same with my studies. Like when I feel like I don't want something, I cannot continue it just because it's the right thing to do. I have to stop and I have to do what I actually want.
Yeah, that's a beautiful trait to have, and the ability to just like know that this is right for me, this isn't, and just to stop regardless of what anyone might think of you. So going back to you being a dancer, what challenges have you faced? Because it's a very competitive industry. I'm sure. I don't know much about dancing, so this is why I want to pick your brain on it. But it's a very competitive industry. So, like, what sort of challenges you have faced along like your journey to become a dancer?
I'm curious because it's true. What you're saying is so true. But I'm just curious, as a non-dancer, why do you think that it's a competitive industry? Because it is, but just like I'm curious.
Yeah, it just strikes me as an industry where everyone sort of has their own back and kind of wants to, because like you're saying, to become a good dancer, like you really have to like work your ass off, right? So it just strikes me as something that like you have to go above and beyond to like put yourself out there and put yourself in front of the right people. I don't know, I might be wrong, but like also from watching movies like Step Up. Like I said, I don't know much about it, but it strikes me as like
No, it's so
a very
true.
competitive industry.
Yeah, I think it definitely depends on the people you surround yourself with. I think if you are in like more an academy kind of vibe, it's usually quite competitive, yeah. But if you have your own crew or like your own people, then you have more like a team energy, you know, like you work together towards something. So there's no competitive energy. If anything, it's more competitive as a group. So you want to become better as a collective, you know, rather than you want to be the best. But in like an academy or in more an individual energy, then yes, it's very competitive. You even feel it when you have a competition, to be honest. And even though that's with your crew, if you walk up to a competition, you really have those people walking by you and looking at you like, we're better. You know, that's just the way it is. But I feel like now I really found my people here in Bali where I feel very comfortable with, and I feel like I'm able to grow with them, and there's no competition at all. But yeah, I did experience that.
And what was your experience initially like? Did you feel like you were competing against the people like within your circle, as opposed to like being kind of collectively training together and supporting each other, and then just like going to competitions? What was kind of your experience with that?
I was so young when I did that though, but that was good, very good actually. Like it's very tough because as a kid, you're trained quite hard. Like you train often, and you even have like conditioning trainings, which is, of course, quite intense for a kid. I think I was 10, 13, like 10 to 13 years old when I did that, and then you have like hardcore conditioning trainings.
Yeah.
But I feel like that was good because it really toughened me up. And now I can push because of that, because that's my background. That's how I how I was taught. So now I also teach like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like you have to push, you have to work hard. Yeah, definitely. If you want something, if you want to get somewhere, you have to be willing to go to that point and even further.
Okay, interesting. And then I suppose going off the like competition side of things, but taking a different angle. So say in the fitness industry, when you're a coach, there's a lot of pressure on you to look a certain way because it's almost viewed from the public that if you look a certain way, that must translate into you being like a good trainer or into a good coach. Have you found there to be like pressure in terms of like beauty standards or maintaining a certain body composition in the dance industry?
For sure. Definitely. And also things you cannot even work on. I remember as a kid, I always felt like I was too tall because dancers in general are short people somehow. It's just true. Like it's just the way it is.
Interesting.
Or
Oh my God.
sometimes it just looks better when they're short, you know?
Right.
And I was always quite tall as a kid, and I always felt too tall to be a dancer. That was what I experienced as a kid. Now I would say, yeah, of course, like for example, if you watch those step up movies, these women always have the flattest tummy ever on an age of, I don't even know, like what are they, 28, and they still have this tummy as if there's not even a uterus inside, and which is maybe the case, like I don't know, but yeah, that definitely sets a certain standard for the dance industry, and also because you, depending on your style, or you know, also your personal style, but also your dancing style, depending on what you wear, sometimes you like to wear like a bikini top or like a short top with a low-waisted pants. That's just like a dance vibe. But then you're also jumping around and moving around and going from the floor and up, so your tummy is going places that you don't want. You don't want your tummy to go those places. So I would definitely say that I've become more aware of my own body since I dance.
Has
Yeah.
that impacted your body image in any way?
Yes. Thinking about how I can answer this properly, because it did in the beginning make me feel uncomfortable. It made me feel uncomfortable because I had certain things that I wanted to wear, but then I didn't because I didn't want to look fat, kind of. Because sometimes when you dance, you look a bit more fat because obviously you're moving around. But then I started training as well. So besides dancing, I also train. I go to the gym. That made me feel a lot more confident. So now I'm a bit more confident, I would say, but I definitely had that in the beginning, that I felt too fat to wear certain things for dance.
And what role has a comparison played in this whole thing? Like, have you ever struggled with that in terms of, because obviously, like, you be training alongside other girls. Like, have you ever found yourself that has been like running through your head, or maybe it's kind of common now for like women to look on social media, and if you had like women that you were aspiring to in the dancing industry, like have you ever found yourself like comparing to others, or were you pretty just like set on like who you are and bringing yourself up?
Yeah, I'm very lucky to be mentally quite strong. So I compare myself to myself. That's it. Like I don't compare myself to others. I can see someone dancing with a bikini top and low-waisted pants and nothing is jiggling around, and I'll be like, wow, that's so good for her, you know, or that looks amazing. But I don't take it back on me, kind of. So I don't really have that I compare with others. It's more like when I see a video of myself, then I would be like, okay, this needs to change a little bit. Or I've been neglecting eating healthy, for example, and then I see that I feel it as well. Because my body changed very fast. I don't know how you call that, but like when I train, you see it straight away. But when I stop training and when I eat a little bit more, you see it straight away too. So that is sometimes a bit hard for me. I compare myself to my own lifestyle and where I was 2 months ago and where I am now, for example, but not really to other people, luckily.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I'm sure like a lot of girls, women would look up to you for having that mindset because not many people do. And I feel like it's hard. Like, would you have any advice then for anyone that does like compare themselves maybe to others or even to themselves? Like maybe some things that you do when you do notice yourself comparing your body changing and makes you feel uncomfortable on what you do to kind of take yourself out of that like negative spiral.
Yeah, so when it comes to comparing yourself to others, my only advice would be realistic. It's not realistic to compare yourself with others because that's not your body. So that's also not what you can be, you know? You can be the best version of yourself, and maybe you haven't seen that version before, so have fun getting there, but don't compare yourself with others because that's never going to be you. And even if you get close to that image, it's still not going to be you. You know what I mean? Like it's not your body. Yeah, that's it. So it doesn't make sense. Like it's just sometimes you just have to check yourself. I feel like this is just like be grounded a little bit, be grounded and be realistic, because if you get into your head, of course you get all these thoughts and it can keep going and it's like you're going down a rabbit hole. But if you check up on yourself, you're like, wait, am I being realistic right now? No, because I can never be that because it's not me. So what I can be is be the best version of myself. Okay, let's focus on that. It's your own competition. It's you versus you.
Yeah, because I feel like as human, we're emotional, not rational, and we can just be a bit unrealistic in terms of what we're comparing ourselves to, and actually like bringing ourselves out of our head and putting those emotions, not like ignoring them, but like putting them to the side and being a little rational, being like, okay, but does that person have the life I do, the same commitments, responsibilities, goals? Like, no, like everyone's just super unique.
Exactly.
And so it's so important to just recognize that no person is the same. And no matter what you would do, you will never look like that person. Something I fell into like at the early stages of my fitness journey, following other people's like routines in terms of what they're eating and training and thinking, right, if they look like that and they're sharing what they're doing in terms of training and diet, like I'm gonna look like them, which is such a big mistake. And we have to like pull ourselves out of and being like, come on, this fitness model on Instagram is paid to look the way they do. And
Yeah.
then any things that you do then when you find yourself maybe being negative towards your body when you're comparing it to like when it does go through different changes.
Yes, I feel like, as cheesy as it maybe sounds, this all comes down to self-love. It's so, once you start appreciating your body and what your body is doing for you every day, but also what your body did for you your whole life. And for me, I love my body. I thank my body almost every day because of my body gives me the ability to dance, right? And that's my passion. Like that's what I love to do. So I'm so grateful for my body for doing that with me, you know? And yeah, so I definitely share a lot of love with my body, and I know that my passion comes from my body. So therefore, I feel like I already have a special relationship with my body because I really appreciate everything. So I don't allow negative talk about my body. For example, this week, I'm on my period. I had the performance and the retreat and everything. It was quite a busy month for me. And this week, I just didn't feel like training at all. I felt very tired. I felt like my body was super sore. And I didn't do anything all week. And I've been enjoying it. You know? I was like, yes, girls, celebrate a little. You had some big accomplishments, and it's okay to let it go for 1 week. You're not going to change straight away, you know? It takes some time. So next week, we'll get back into it. Just that's it. Like, make sure you have a good relationship with your body so that you don't even allow yourself to talk negative about her. Like, it's the same. You don't want to talk negative about your friend because you're appreciating your friend. That should be the same with yourself. So I think that's the first step. And then create a mindset where if you don't like something, you change it. And so if I feel like, okay, I don't like that I didn't work out. Okay, so I'm gonna work out tomorrow. And then tomorrow, when you wake up, don't think about if you want it or not. Don't think about if you're tired or not. Just wake up. Just do it. Just go. Don't give yourself too much time to step back again. Just don't think and do it.
That's so valuable. I think, the gratitude part of it and recognizing our body for what it can do for us and not just how it looks, the like shape, size, or a number on the scale, but actually the fact that we can get out of bed each morning, we can go for a walk, we can go to the gym. In your case, like, go and dance, perform, teach. And like, that's so beautiful and being like, wow, like my body can do amazing things.
Exactly.
Like already switches, like flips the switch in your head on like, right, my body is so amazing to like, I hate different aspects of
Yeah.
it. And then in regards to taking action, I think that's part of self-care as well.
For sure.
Self-care isn't just taking bubble baths, watching Netflix, treating yourself to like $8 coffees, but actually taking ownership. And
Yes.
if there's things that you can control, well, then it's your responsibility to change
Yeah.
them for a better you, so you feel better. Like it's kind of taking that ownership. So I love all that.
And I also
yeah.
think, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I also think it's important to find a why. Like if you know why you want something, that's when you will have the energy and everything you need to get there. So maybe if you found it hard to love yourself, or if you found it hard to just take ownership, because like we say, just take ownership. But it's maybe not that easy, You need to know why you do it. And if you have those three things, I think that's good.
What's your why?
Dance. I even sometimes when I have I have some injuries here and there sometimes, obviously, because I train every day, all day. And sometimes I need the unpleasant massages for it, And I can scream and cry because it hurts so much when this person is touching me. But I keep in my head, I do this because I want to dance. And then I can get through it, Or if I don't want to go to the gym, but I know I will have a video shoot and I know I will feel better when I do go to the gym, then I think about that. Like, okay, but I know why I'm doing it, because I'm going to dance in this video shoot and I need to feel comfortable about myself. And this is right now what I need to feel comfortable. So let's go.
Yeah, it's like temporary pain for the long-term results of how you want to feel. And you also mentioned you started going to the gym to like also support your dance career. Like, what are your thoughts on like including strength training to support you yourself or like anyone that like is into like dancing or pursuing a dance career in terms of like improving their skills in that aspect?
It's so important. I think as a dancer, you're very flexible and like your body is always making these super unnatural moves, or maybe you have many jumps and you land on your legs the whole time. That's super intense for your knees, Like there are so many things that I started noticing, or maybe you have a choreography that you do often where you're often leaning on your hands. That's so painful for your wrist. Like you just need to have a strong body to be able to perform good in a dance studio as well. And I didn't realize that myself for a very long time. Like I literally started going to the gym since 5 months or something. But I've noticed a difference because sometimes when I danced, I felt my knees after a class, or I felt my wrists after a class, or my lower back, or my neck, And now I have that. I actually don't have it at all because I go to the gym and my body is able to support me.
Yeah.
So it definitely worked physically, but also mentally, just to make you stronger, to also push through in dance classes sometimes when it gets hard. And tell yourself that you can do it. Same in the gym, when you tell yourself you can finish this set. Like in a studio, sometimes you get challenged mentally, and you need to be able to tell yourself that you can do this choreo. You just need to push a little.
Yeah, I think it's important to highlight the benefits that the gym brings outside of aesthetics, because especially for women, I feel like those that don't want muscle or any definition as such, they want to look soft and toned, they think, right, let me stick to like Pilates or yoga or cardio. But there's so much more to the gym than just looking a certain way. And whether that's for your sport, if you are playing a team sport or dancing or anything outside of the gym, that's going to be beneficial. But mental resilience, on the other hand, is another thing, because
Definitely.
what the gym does, it shows you that when you push outside a comfort zone, you're increasing confidence, which is not only going to be confidence in the gym, but it's going to transcribe to other areas of your life.
Yes, definitely.
And you said you like train a lot, you train hard. Like obviously that's a lot of stress on your body. How do you support yourself like through nutrition and like maybe implementing stress management protocols to balance out the stress from dancing and
Yeah, this was hard. This was definitely something I needed to learn, because in the beginning I didn't know how to do it. And in the beginning, when I was with different people around me, I didn't eat that much, or I was just busy, and I thought it was a good thing to go from class to class and like, oh, I don't have time to eat. Sometimes I would think about it, was like, oh, I don't have time to eat. That's good. You know, it was like,
yeah.
it got to that point. And now I feel like I still don't eat enough. I know that I don't eat enough, because it's just when you're always moving, it's sometimes hard. You don't want to move with a full stomach, so you try to eat small things, but sometimes you just don't have it with you, or especially in Bali, I would say. But I focus that whenever I eat something, it's full of proteins. And I learned a little bit more about food. I still have a lot to learn. But for example, when I know, okay, I'm about to teach 2 classes, and after that I have rehearsal, for example, then I make sure that I eat something with carbs as well before. You know, like it's not just, oh, let me eat an apple because I don't have time. No, like make sure that when I eat something, I I try to think about, okay, what is the best thing to eat right now? I have 2 classes, okay, let me eat some carbs, let me eat some proteins. Or I just did a gym session and now I'm about to teach again, let me make sure I get my proteins. So whatever, in whatever way, whether that's a shake if I don't have time, then that's a shake. But I try to focus on proteins for sure.
Yeah, and what's your go-to kind of snack that you like to have when you have like a busy day?
A snack?
Yeah, or like even like a meal, whatever like you have during the day, that's kind of like your go-to that gives you fuel and the energy that you need to like carry on 2 or 3 classes in a row.
Oof. It's different every day. I feel like that's kind of our a big benefit of living in Bali, that you have so much to choose of to eat. But I definitely love myself a chicken rice bowl.
Chicken rice bowl.
Yes, with some vegetables. I make sure there's chicken. Sometimes I add extra chicken or an egg,
Yeah.
and some rice.
Sounds good.
That's so good.
It's like lunchtime now, so I'm like,
We're like, I'm gonna order this after.
yeah, I think so. Send me
Yeah.
where you get it.
I will.
So now I kind of want to go down a little different direction, because obviously like what you have accomplished and what you're doing as a dance performer, a teacher is like incredible. But also recently you launched your brand, Lovely Bali. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yes. So yeah, I decided to launch a brand. Yeah, it's called Lovely, which came from me writing my journal, and I always end my journal with Lovely, and I thought that's it. That's the brand name. And it's basically, I organize retreats and wellness events. So it's not just full retreats, but also daily events. Um, and there's some clothing there that is still a baby. I feel like the retreats definitely are a bit more, how do you say it, like regular now. Like it's coming back, and the clothes are still, I'm still,
In the process
yes,
of like
in the
figuring
process.
out, yeah.
But yeah, why? Because yeah, I'm a dancer, but I feel like there's more to dance. And I actually started noticing in my classes as well how many people come to me to tell me that they feel like dancing is so healing for them. And I actually realized that it's so healing for me too. And actually someone I was seeing at the time said to me, you should start doing retreats. And I was like, why would I do retreats? That's so spiritual. And even though I am spiritual, that's too spiritual for me. And then I realized, yeah, like it's something that I created, I organize, so I can make it as spiritual as I want. I can do whatever I want with it. So I just organized my first one about like 1.5 months ago, I would say. And you were there.
I know. It was actually so magical. And I was like, I came to help Lee out and be like a little content creator there. But I got so much out of it, like, which I had, not that I didn't have high expectation for the retreat, but I was more so like, yeah, I'm going to be the like backstage girl. But yeah, myself, I got so much out of it. But I'll let you speak more about that yourself.
And that was even, you even missed the first day. Like,
I know.
imagine how much more you maybe even got out of it, including that first day.
For your first retreat, and even seeing like all the people that attended, all the women that were there, like how transformative it was for them. I was like, I was emotional because I was like, you've created something so amazing and terrific that I think really does and will, like, you know, going forward as you do more retreats and the workshop help women to connect with themselves, which is something that I'm on a journey on right now, which I thought it was like a good way to like allow myself to become more in tune with myself.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely see your growth in that as well.
So
But yeah.
yeah, what inspired you? So you wanted to bring spirituality into.
What I wanted was, okay, so basically when I came, we're going down. Down memory lane.
Right, we're going on a deeper level here.
Yeah, I think when I came to Bali first, I was a bit overwhelmed with like how many people there are and so many people want something from you, and I don't know, it was a lot. And I feel like even though I'm very extroverted, when you see me in a group, I can be very extroverted. I'm very social and stuff, but at the same time, I'm not. Like, I need my downtime, I need my me time, and I'm very, to be that in tune with myself, I need a lot of time to connect with myself, and I really take that time. And actually, quite early in my Bali life, I found a water healer that I go to almost every week, and for like 2 years now. And I did some Kundalini sessions, and quickly I found someone who I feel very comfortable with. So right now, whenever I do a Kundalini session, I do it with her. And what else do I have? I really like doing my cacao ceremonies. I really like, breath work, all these things. And I thought, let's bring it all together. But when I started creating this retreat, I just wrote down, okay, what would it look like? Let me just make a planning and see what it would look like. And does it sound like something I would go to? If it does, then I'll organize it. And I was writing these things down and actually realized how beautiful this is. Like, I actually have people around me that help me a lot. My water healer, the Kundalini transmitter, and my friend who's doing breathwork and cacao ceremonies. And I can bring dance. And together this sounds like a very, very good retreat, because you have the spiritual activities where you go on a deeper level with yourself, individual. But then you also have the dance, which kind of, when you dance, the energy flows around in your body. So after a Kundalini session, how nice it is actually to dance it out or to connect with your body again. So I tried to bring it all together, and it was wonderful. It was so beautiful. It was more than I expected, actually. And the way it all flowed into each other was just beautiful. And my water healer is actually a reader too. So she kicked it off. The first activity was the water healing with her, and it was one-on-one. And she also read the people. So after the water healing, she will tell you, okay, this is what I get from your energy. I think this is where you need to work on. And I was sitting next to this conversation, so I was writing it down. And I got back to it with the girls later. So that was kind of the, like the main, how do you say, like the main...
It opens up the retreat.
In Dutch, there is such a good saying for it.
Maybe say it. We might have some Dutch listeners. I'm not going to understand, but...
In Dutch, we say it's like, okay, so like this was the main topic for that person for the weekend. So we started the weekend off by a water healing. You straight away get to hear, okay, I feel like you're very insecure about this and that, and it comes from that. boom, you know, like people
So is it
straight
something
away.
then to like zone in on then for the rest of the weekend?
Yes.
Ah.
So then I kept it in mind for this person. Okay, the water healer said this and that about that person. So when I have a dance class, I will bring that back to her. So now you need to step up a little bit more, or maybe take the front line, you know, like things like that. So you have, so okay, we're gonna work on your confidence a bit more, or for you, it's more about this or that. Like it was very personal, but also we had a very beautiful group dynamic. So I think I feel like I'm rambling, but at
No, I
least,
love it.
yeah.
Honestly, that's
it's
just a
clear.
start of it, but like it kind of painted a picture of like where things are going, like
Yes.
based off the first retreat that you had.
Yeah.
But let's sit on the topic of spirituality because I feel many people, and you know what, myself included, a few years ago, I thought it was just this woo-woo thing, and it's like, oh, so typical. You're living in Bali, of course you're gonna be doing water healing every day and Kundalini sessions. But can you tell us a little bit more what spirituality means to you?
Oof. Okay. I've always been quite spiritual, even if as a kid. I think what it means to me is that you allow yourself. This is a big one. You allow yourself to open your eyes to a different world, or like a higher energy or a higher frequency. Nobody knows what it looks like or if it's there or whatever, but the people who are highly spiritual, I think they're able to allow themselves to feel it or to see it. That there's more, yeah, to allow yourself to see that there is more to life than what we can physically see.
Was there a particular event in your life that made you go down to like seek like spirituality as such? Or like you said, you were always spiritual, but was there any like profound moment that like made you go down the path of like bringing it more to surface as such?
I'm not sure. Like I think, well, one thing I always had, like as a kid, I never felt alone. I never felt like I was alone, even if no one would be in this space right now, and I know for a fact that I'm alone. I still didn't feel alone, and that's something I had forever. And when I came to Bali, some people, I don't know if you also call it Reiki in English. You say Reiki?
Oh,
Like,
Reiki, yeah.
Some Reiki said to me that someone is with me all the time. And she was like, yeah, that's actually your brother who never got born. Like, he's with you all the time. And I heard it multiple times from different people who saw him. So that is one major thing for sure that made me realize, okay, there actually is more. Because how can these different people say the same thing to me? And I felt like this my whole life. I always felt like I wasn't alone, but I didn't know what it was. And then different people told me, oh, but it's your brother. It's like with you the whole time. He's like sitting right there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And have you ever you never felt that it was him necessary that was with you? You just say you never felt alone, so you felt like there was somebody kind of protecting you at all times.
Yeah. Well, sometimes like before I knew it was him, because I didn't even know I had a brother. Like I didn't know. I didn't know what it was, so I also didn't feel safe with it. Like I just felt like I wasn't alone, and it sometimes could drive me crazy. As a kid, definitely drove me crazy. But now that I know it's safe, it really calmed me down. So I think it's not just, oh, this is something spiritual and now that's scary. No, sometimes if you already feel something, it's actually a good thing to explore that, because it might calm you down. For me, knowing that it's him, now I play around with it. So now that when I don't feel alone, I'm like, can you leave? Like, you just go.
You're making me feel uncomfortable, actually.
Right now, I want to be alone. Yeah, so that now I feel more comfortable with that for sure. And also, I think growing up, my life was a bit chaotic, I can say. It was not a very calm childhood. So, and often felt very lonely. So I think I was always looking for comfort in different ways. Like I really connected with, with the universe, I would say, or like with more like energy around me rather than physical people.
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
No, I understand. And at the moment, I'm currently on my own like spiritual journey. I'm trying to become like more in tune with myself, like listen to my emotions. And it's something very new to me because I don't know if I can. I think was brought up being religious, but I never had like this connection with God or the church. Like I always went to church just because like my parents like brought me to church, you know, and like my mom especially and like her side of the family are very religious, and it was just like we were like practitioners, right? But as I got older and like I was what 16, 17 and just started to take care of like myself, I dropped that because it was no longer forced on me. So I lost that connection to like anything higher than me. And over the years, I was like, there must be something there. I do want to explore a different side. Like, I don't think that I am still really like connecting with like God or anything like that, but I definitely am connecting with myself and the universe. So yes, I'm still on my journey and I'm learning and exploring, but what would you say to somebody like to me or somebody like me? What can they do to like explore that spiritual side of them?
First of all, good on you. It's so
you.
nice that you're exploring that again. Yeah, this is unpopular opinion maybe, but like I feel like every religion is also spiritual. You know, even though some religions don't allow spirituality, you believe in something that is spiritual. Either way. So one thing I would say is this is a tough one. I would almost say don't talk about it and just explore for yourself. So, you know, if that's religious, then go to church or go to whatever kind of thing that has something to do with some kind of religion to explore if that religion is the right one for you. If it's spirituality, yeah, maybe go to a Kundalini session, maybe go to anything to see what suits you, where do you feel comfortable, because you feel it. I feel like you know when you know you know. When I did my first Kundalini session, I knew that was definitely something that would help me, and I pray every night, and I don't know who I pray to, right? Because I'm not religious. So I'm not religious in a way that I believe in one specific God, or I'm connected to one specific religion. But I do pray because I believe there's something. So I think, yeah, maybe don't talk a lot about it, because if you're looking for an answer, you're also sometimes a bit influential. Is that the right word?
Yeah,
Or easy to be influenced.
Yeah.
So maybe it's better to not talk about it a lot, so you give yourself space to find your own answers first. Know who to talk to. So if you want to go more to your spiritual side, you can reach out to me and be like, hey, actually the next time you're going to do this, I want to join.
Yeah.
Or if it's more something, oh, I know that person is religious with this religion, let me ask her if I can join one time. So you find your own ways, and know that there are no rules. There are no rules. There's no, I pray and I don't know who I pray to. Just,
yeah.
I'm like,
Somebody up there.
yes, hello.
Fix all my problems. Hello,
I
you
asked for
see
something.
me?
Yes. It's like, I don't know, like if I'm not trying to, yeah, like maybe some people think that's weird, you know, because you're not religious, you don't even know who you're praying to, but still you pray. Yeah, that's me. Like I pray to God and the universe, and I say that. I always start my prayers with dear God, universe, or any higher energy above us, because I don't know what's out there, but I believe there's something out there, and to me that's enough.
So basically, there's no one size fits all. Like it's really just individual and what you feel connected to. And what you're saying is like experiment, do different things, like participate in whether that's Kundalini, breath work, or going to church, and what you then connect with, then that's down to you.
And then also reflect.
Okay.
So once you did something, write about it or something, you know. So you reflect on it. Okay, how comfortable did I feel in this situation, or what, or maybe some weeks later, what did I get out of that experiment? so you know what suits you.
Yeah, I think what I was finding a bit hard to comprehend is like with spirituality like this, there's no rules and it's just more about the connection to yourself and to something higher than yourself. Whereas like the experience that I had for like all my years being brought up and growing up is like with church comes also these specific rules that you have, and it's like very structured. And I think this is why I had like resentment to it, because I'm like, why should we do this? Like, you know, obviously there's God, and then different religions have their different like practices, and there's the rules of the church, and then there's like the rules of the God, which I felt like I was a little bit of resentment, being like, why should we do that? Why can't we just go with our own things? I think that's why when I was like getting more into the spirituality side of things, I was sort of questioning it, like, how am I going to feel that I'm actually spiritual? And I was seeking those answers.
Yeah, that makes sense. But how can I ask? How does your family feel about you exploring this?
I don't like. I haven't really talked about it. Like I think I
There you
mentioned.
go. I don't know.
Haven't really brought it up. Like my
Yeah.
mom is very religious. I definitely was. It's something very new to me. I think I'm still figuring it out, and I guess I want to explore it a little bit more before I'm like expressive about it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But we're going to wrap up. This was a very great conversation, and thank you so much for sharing it. And,
Thank you.
you know, obviously learning about the two sides. And I think it also paints a picture that, like, you don't have to put yourself in a box. You can be what you want. You can do what you want, even if the two different passions and hobbies and interests you have like might not necessarily like intertwine as such on the outside, even though I know you're saying dance and spirituality does, but you know, kind of looking on the outside, say many people wouldn't put those two
For sure.
together.
Yes.
So yeah, thank you so much for sharing this, and
Thank
I
you
really
for
enjoyed
having
that.
me.
Okay.